Today was the first day since coming back from this retreat that I actually felt like I was kind of settling back into life. I headed out to a cafe this morning to do some work because I have just not been focusing well on development work at home, so I decided to change up the environment a bit, which always helps. I got to go for a nice dog walk, and then I picked up some groceries, and then I finished my work before 3. So it's now 3:41. I'm back home, as you can see, and I'm gonna do a little bit of writing. I have kind of put into my calendar that I want to do 30 minutes of writing every day for this week and use that as a way to ease myself back into it. I'm gonna jump back into scene cards today and see if I can get at least a few more scenes done. I imagine with 30 minutes I should be able to get a decent amount of scenes done. And then beyond that, I have little things to do here and there, but I'm really just trying to make sure that I'm resting, because one thing that I've noticed is that I don't know, I've been getting sick more often than I normally do, and I've been feeling very tired, and I've kind of just had a lot of symptoms that it feels like they're kind of pointing me towards burnout or some sort of stress, and I feel like my body is screaming at me a little bit. So that's also part of the reason that I moved my development work outside of the house for this week, because I feel like it removes that type of stress from my living space, whereas writing and like other project work, I guess, don't stress me out as much. So I feel okay still doing those things in my space, but I want to take care of myself. I know I need to take care of myself, and yeah, that's what this afternoon is going to be about, and that's what the focus of this whole week is going to be. Good morning. Thought I would do a little writing check-in. I ended up hitting my goal of writing for half an hour yesterday, or editing, I guess. And I actually went through and I ended up finishing the scene cards for everything that's in the manuscript currently, not including the scenes that I still need to add. So we have 42 scenes total. As you can see, scene 42 at this point in time is the beach scene, which I still refuse to get rid of, and I will make it serve a purpose, even if it doesn't. Although right now it actually does serve a pretty big purpose, so I don't think it's going anywhere, and I'm very happy about that, because the beach scene was one of those scenes that kind of just like came to me when the story came to me, and it was very easy to write, and it's one of those scenes that just feels so clear that when I wrote it, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is staying. This has to be here. So yeah, we finished going through making all of our basic scene cards that kind of just include a couple lines explaining what is happening in the scene. I also have a list. Like, I created another document that has like 2 pages worth of point form notes relating to each scene and what I want to do with them. I didn't put notes for every single scene, but a lot of them, I would say 50%, I did write a note for, because they either have to be removed or there's a major context shift that needs to happen, which I imagine for me, if there's a context shift that is going to change the entire scene, I'll probably just end up rewriting it, but we'll see. So now, what time is it? It is currently 8. I have a work meeting at 9:30? Hold on. I should probably know that. 9:30, okay. Which means that I have time to spend at least half an hour this morning. I'm gonna go through the notes that I kept while I was doing this kind of like scene analysis, making the scene cards. And I'm just gonna organize them a bit better, like a list of scenes that are gonna be fully removed. And then I also need to organize the scenes that need to be added, because there are a couple comments that I left in the actual manuscript document, like in Word. I just added comments that said, actually, this needs to be overhauled in order to work with this change. Just little notes like that. So I need to go through the comments that I left in the manuscript while I was doing the scene analysis. I need to go through the notes that I wrote in a separate document, and I'm going to make a list of scenes that need to be fully removed and scenes that need to be fully added. I think that's what I'm going to start with because it sounds easy and just easier to tackle right now, just because I already know very clearly which scenes I want to remove, and I already have, again, a very clear idea of the scenes that need to be added as of right now. So I'm gonna make that list, and then once I've finished making that, I am going to go through all of the notes again and kind of just like, I need to decide what to do with the scenes that are going to be massively changed. I think maybe I want to make some sort of outline plan, if that makes sense, so that it can say like chapter 1, scenes 1 and 2 that are both in there, this is what's happening with them. Chapter 2, scene 3, this is what's happening with this scene. And then I can say either, actually, yeah, that makes sense. And then with that kind of chapter scene by scene outline, I can make a note to either remove, add, and then which scene I'll be adding, or rewrite for context and then a little note on the context that needs to be rewritten for. That sounds like a good plan. I think that's what I'm going to do, and I will show you when I make that, because the organization of that outline, plan, whatever we're calling it, makes a lot of sense in my brain logically. So I'll show you when I put it together. Hi, good morning. It is a rainy day here in Vancouver. I've made myself a London fog, which feels aligned. I slept in quite a bit this morning, for me at least. I slept in until about 7:30 or so, maybe a little earlier. But last night I went to see Noah Kahan perform here in Vancouver, and it was everything I hoped it would be. He played most of the songs that I wanted him to play, but some of the ones that I didn't get to hear are like older songs, so I didn't think he would play them. It was a really wonderful concert, but I didn't get home until just after midnight, so I slept in a little bit this morning, and now it's about 8 a.m. I'm gonna have my London fog, and I am going to do some writing, because yesterday I was working on, where is it? I don't know, it's like a restructuring outline is what I'm calling it. And you would have seen a little bit of it in the clips from yesterday, but I'm basically going through every single scene that I've tracked in my manuscript so far, and I'm making a note of if I'm going to combine it with another scene, because there's actually quite a few scenes that I'm doing that, and I've kind of made notes and I'm like, combine this with scene 3, and then I need to do a cleaner edit on it and kind of increase the pacing. So I'll make little notes on the ones that I'm combining. Some of the scenes will be marked to add, so I haven't added all of those yet, but those are basically just brand new scenes that need to be added. I have a couple that I need to fully remove, although most of them aren't getting fully removed. They're kind of just like getting completely stripped, and then only the most important pieces are getting combined with another scene. I also have notes if I'm doing a light edit, so if I don't really have any major structural edits for something, I've just put a note to edit for the context and the world building. And then I also have the option to rewrite a scene. So there are definitely a few scenes that need to be fully rewritten. So I've added like the word rewrite to that scene, and then I'll put a note for some context, what I'm wanting to include in the rewrite, what the purpose of the rewrite is basically. So I'm keeping track of this that way, and so far so good. So I have, oh yeah, I actually only have 4 chapters, 5 scenes to go through and finish making these notes on. And then I'm going to jump back in and do a couple more scenes that need to be added, and I'm going to try and slot them in here and see if I can loosely plan where I want them to go. I'm going to try. I'm trying to change to become a bit more of a plotter. So yeah, that's what we're going to work on this morning for the next hour or so, I would say, and then I need to jump into web development work. I am happy to report that I did finish the kind of like scene breakdown or the restructuring outline. I have a bunch of scenes that I need to go through and combine with others, and then I have a couple scenes to add and a couple scenes to kind of like rearrange, and I'm still gonna do all of that before actually adding in the brand new scenes. I think like I'm gonna combine the scenes that already exist and just like whittle those down to the most important parts even further. And then once we have a kind of like patchy, reorganized, restructured manuscript, then we're gonna jump in and make note of where things need to be added. This is my process so far. I don't know if it's gonna change, but for now I'm kind of just like, it feels like a very intuitive approach. Like each time I finish one step, I think of what would probably be easiest to do next and what I can kind of tackle next. And I'm really just taking it like in baby steps right now, but it seems to be working. So a success, I would say.